So today we'll discuss about how to connect to the instance. We'll create the instance, then we'll try to connect it to that Linux instance. Okay, so we can create even Mac and Windows also. But as of now, I'm going to create the Linux instance. So what is the meaning of instance is a virtual computing environment from the AWS is called as instance. Then what exactly the meaning of AMI? What exactly the meaning of AMI?
Amazon
I
image.
stands for Amazon Mission Image. Say Amazon Mission Image. So we are going to get like a pre-configured OS template we are getting. So pre-configured OS template we are getting, and we are going to use that OS image we are using. So what is the advantage with that is? What is the advantage with that is we no need to we no need to create again from the OS from the scratch. Already already installed OS image is available. Okay, so that's normally in the virtualization. Sorry, say in the virtualization. So we are calling that as template. We are calling. So template is a pre-configured OS kind of thing. But in the AWS, what we are calling is in the AWS we are calling as AMI. Okay, so AMI. Okay, so that AMI stands for Amazon Mission Image. It's have the pre-configured OS image. Okay, so sometimes it's having OS plus apps also we have. OS and apps also we have, and sometimes we may have databases, app servers, web servers, those also. But these comes under IaaS. Okay, but if I go for the PaaS, what is going to happen? Already those app servers, web servers, database servers, those itself is ready-made available. Okay, so if I want a database means one traditional solution is you take the EC2 instance. On top of that, we are going to install those app servers, database, all those. But if I go for the cloud, what is going to happen?
So it's all pre-installs.
Yeah, so if I go for a PaaS-based kind of solution, everything is inbuilt is available. Okay, so that's we need to take care that inbuilt we are going to manage those apps. Okay, so that databases also is available. Inbuilt we are using and we just need to pay the money. Okay, so any doubts on this? So what is that AMI? First try to understand. It's a pre-configured kind of thing. Okay, so then now in our scenario, what we are using is AWS itself is providing the AMIs for us. Means we are not creating those AMIs. Otherwise, we can also create our own AMIs also we can create. And another solution we have is we can purchase commercial AMIs even from the marketplace also. Okay, so what are the solutions we have is by default in the community, AWS is providing lot of AMIs. We can use those AMIs is one solution. Second one is we can use like a marketplace. There are some thousands of AMIs are available. Okay, in the marketplace, there are some thousands of AMIs are available. Just we need to use them. Okay, so then we are going to connect it to those AMIs. Okay, so those AMIs we are going to connected. Okay, so what is the advantage with that? What is that advantage with that? We no need to create those AMIs or AWS also no need to provide. There would be some thousands of marketplace depends upon our requirements. Or we can create our own AMIs also. Yesterday we used those AMIs, right? Those are Ubuntu, Windows, Amazon Linux. Those are most of them are AWS provided licenses. Sorry, AMIs. Okay, so AWS provided AMIs we have used. Okay, so then Here we choosing any name we are giving. I'm just giving my web server I'm giving. Then here I'm going to choose either Amazon Linux or Ubuntu, Red Hat, any of that Linux flavor. I choose the Ubuntu here, and Ubuntu I'm going to get 2404. What is that meaning of 2404 is? Like here I'm going to get that 2404 we are going to get it is that is a version of the Ubuntu. As of now, the latest version is 2404. Previously, we have 2204, 2004 like this we have those versions. And architecture we are using x86 means Intel and AMD level architecture also is available. Then very important one is we have the instance types. So what is the concept of the instance type is? So here we are going to get the wide range of CPU options, okay, say memory options, okay, different type of hardware, all those are available for us, different set of hardwares, different set of family we have, and that's we are going to use them. Okay, so as of now we are going to use T2 family, but in that also we have we have the different families of hardware. In the normal environment, maybe you will choose i5, i3. That is the hardware kind of family, like processor family kind of thing. Name device, they have their own processor types. Like this, we have the different type of instances, and we need to choose the different type of instances depends upon the client requirements. Also, we are going to suggest the best instance types. Okay, so because the billing is depend upon the instances type also. Okay, the business the billing also is dependent upon the size of that. Okay, so any doubts on this? As of now, why we have chosen T2.micro is it's a free tier eligible. So that is the purpose we have chosen that instance type. Okay, so then here we are going to get one virtual CPU and 1 GB RAM we are getting. And if that 750 hours is the crossed, then there would be a billing also. Okay, so there would be the billing also for us. Okay, so then here we are going to choose key pair kind of thing. So then what is the meaning of key pair is, it's not recommended to use the passwords. We are going to use the key pairs for this, and we are going to get public key and private key. And in the public key, private key, what we are getting is, so we are getting encrypted key pairs, and always the data also is going to be encrypted. It's always recommended to use key pairs compared to passwords. It's always recommended to use the key pairs compared to passwords. Okay, so that is the reason we are using key pair. And what are the two encryption algorithms? Previously, we have only RSA, but now we have two encryption algorithms have been supported by AWS. So among this, one is RSA, second one is ED25519. Among this, which is latest? Which is the latest one? ED25519 is the latest one. ED25519 is the latest one we have. Okay, so then I'm going to create a key pair here, and the file extensions we have is, what are the file extensions we have?
PEM.
.pem and ppk. Initially is recommended to use .pem file itself. Okay, so I'm going to create a new key pair. I'm giving the name my web server. Then I'm going to download in the form of .pem itself. Okay, so these all our architect decision. According to that, we need to create, not our own decisions. Okay, so then I'm going to create my PEM file I got. Then in the networking, as of now, I'm going with the default VPC subnets, but I'm going to choose the firewall. Okay, so here is the firewall. What is the concept of the security group? Okay, what is the concept of the security group is? So in the security group, we are getting firewall rules. So we are getting the firewall rules And those firewall rules we are going to customize as per our requirements. Say if it is AWS, we are going to keep SSH for the 22 purpose we are going to open. And if it is RDP, 3389 is need to open. If I don't open this firewall rule, what is going to happen is my instance is not going to allow the traffic. My instance is not going to allow the traffic. Okay, so that's the reason definitely we need to configure like security groups. And in the security groups, so we have inbound and outbound rules we have. So in the security group, we have inbound and outbound rules we are going to configure. What is the advantage of inbound and outbound rules is from the external traffic to the instance, what is the traffic is coming is external traffic means from outside to AWS or from the VPC outside to that instance, what is the traffic is coming is that's will configure in the inbound rule. And from the instance to outside, what is the traffic is going is called as outbound rules. Okay. By default, in the outbound, we are allowing all the traffic. That means maybe assume we have a mall entry and exit kind of thing. At the entry level also, we are going to have a security kind of thing. And at the exit also will have. But here, the traffic which is coming from the outside, we are going to configure as the inbound rule. And from the server to outside, like a server to or instance to outside, what is the traffic is going is from server to outside, what is the traffic is going is it's an outbound rule. But by default, what we are getting is all traffic is allowed in the outbound. All traffic is allowed in outbound, and in the inbound, we are going to configure these roles, say SSH or RDP, HTTP, HTTPS, like this depends upon our requirement. We are going to open those port numbers. Okay, and those port numbers are going to open for us. Okay, so if someone asks about like a security group is a firewall or firewall rules, which is correct?
Firewall.
Yeah, it's not a firewall. The firewall rules we are configuring. Okay, and what is the meaning of inbound rule? What is the meaning of inbound rule? The inbound rules are from
Applying
the
on
outside. What is the traffic is coming to that server? We are going to filter. Okay, and outbound is from the server to the outside world. What is the traffic is going on? Okay, so that rule is called as outbound rule. Okay. So then here we are going to set up we'll come to this again. So then here, what is this meaning of SSH? Allow meaning is that SSH means 22 port itself we are going to open. So we are going to open that 22 port we are going to open for that. Okay, so what is this 0.0.0 also I'll explain. But as of now, anywhere is risky kind of thing. And coming to the next one, storage. So here in the storage, what we are getting is we are getting an EBS volume, and we are going to get 8 GB we are using. In that 8 GB, like all the operating system, everything is also is going to use. Okay, so now in this use case, we are going to get the 8 GB of the storage we are using, and the type what we are getting is a GP3. What is the concept of GP3?
general purpose.
General purpose. In that also GP3 is the advanced one compared to GP2. So compared to GP2, we have the GP3 and we have IO1, IO2 also we have. But as of now, we are not using IO1 because they will charge money for that. Okay, and how much storage we are getting at free of cost? The 30 GB of the storage we are getting as the free of cost.
Yes, free.
Okay, so 30 GB we are getting as the free of cost. If we use more than that, we need to provide that.
Pay fee.
Yeah. Yeah. Hello.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So then if we want additional volumes also, we can attach or we can increase this volume also. But better to give minimum 12 to 15 GB, better to give. Okay. So then so here we have some advanced details also, but we'll discuss that. If I launch the instance, what is going to happen in the backend is in the North Virginia region, like AWS is going to create one instance for us. In the North Virginia region, AWS is going to create one instance and we are going to access that instance. Okay, so now we got an instance ID. So using that instance ID, we are going to connect to that. So using that instance ID, we are going to connect. Okay, so now that instance state is in the pending state, it comes to running state also. So now we got an instance ID and we got a public IP, we got a private IP. Can you guess over the internet, we are going to able to connect through public IP or private IP?
Public IP.
Public.
Public IP itself, because only within the VPC we can connect using the private IP, but over the internet we can use using the public IP itself, we are going to connect. Okay, so you are going to use public IP itself, we are going to use to connect to that. Okay, or we can use even this public DNS also we can use. Okay, so public DNS or public IP we can use in order to connect to those instances. Okay, so then here we have that is Linux instance, right? So we are going to connect to Linux instance. What we are going to do through the Linux instance in this scenario is we have a public IP address and from my laptop, okay, so my laptop connecting to that instance. I'm going to connect to that instance I'm connecting. Okay, so then my laptop having Windows and I'm connecting to that Linux instance where that instance is in the AWS. So in order to connect to a remote Linux server, it's not only in the cloud itself, even we have a remote location, we have a Linux mission. Okay, so what we need to use the protocol is SSH is the protocol. Secure host is that. Okay, so then using the SSH, that port number is 22. If I don't open that port number 22 in my security group, what is going to happen is that firewall is blocking me to connect. Okay, so then using that, we are going to we are not going to connect to that. Okay. So then on the Windows, okay, what we required is Windows, we are using. So normally, if you want to connect to web-based application, what we required? For web-based application, if you want to connect, we required a browser, right? We required a
Browse.
browser. Okay. So, but in this use case, what is going to happen? So now here we want to connect to Linux mission. Okay. That's the reason in the Windows, we want one software that is called as putty. It's not mandatory putty itself, but one like a most used kind of software to connect to Linux missions are putty is the software. Like we need to have the putty on our instance. So we require the putty on our instance. Okay, so we need to install putty. Then what is the file format we got? .pem is the file format.
PEM file.
Okay, so PEM stands for private enhanced mail. Private enhanced mail. But one of the problem in this use case is putty directly doesn't support PEM format. Okay, so now try to understand. Putty won't support PEM format. Okay, it is going to support .ppk format. It is going to support the ppk format. Okay, so to convert .pem file to .ppk, we need putty gen. Okay, so then can you tell me what is that putty and what is putty gen? What is a putty and what is putty gen?
Putty is the thing which we connect with instances.
Yeah, putty is to connect to that not only instances, remote Linux missions.
Oh yeah.
For the SSH, we can connect using putty. That's not a new tool. Okay, so previously also we used to connect through putty itself, remote Linux servers from Windows. Okay, so then what is putty gen?
It helps to convert PEM file to PPK.
Yeah, PEM file to PPK file. Okay, but when we install putty, automatically we are getting putty gen also. So when we like install putty, automatically we are getting putty gen also. That means explicitly we no need to do it. Okay,
No.
if you install putty, automatically putty gen will come. Okay, so putty kind of software installation is not a big deal. Very easy installer. We can go to Google, putty, download a small installer. We can download, and that exe we can install. Okay, if you have Linux or Mac, we no need of putty also. Okay, and putty is supporting which file format?
PEM,
No,
PPK format.
PPK. That's the reason. You may get a doubt directly we can download. Directly we can download
PPK.
PPK itself, but that's not a best practice. Okay, so that's not a best practice because one use case is that PPK is giving in the last 2 to 3 years only. Previously, they used to give only
PEM file.
PEM only. Recently, like based on the user requirements, that giving PPK. That means maybe if the instance has been created 2 years back or 3 years back, they may get .pem itself. And in the Linux to Linux also, PPK is not supported. Which one is supported?
PEM file.
Okay, so PEM is supported. Okay, so in the Linux to Linux, PPK is not supported, PEM is supported. That is the reason always you download .pem file. Whenever we want, we can use. Whenever we want, we can use PPK file, we can use it. So whenever we want, we can use so we can convert into PPK file. So now here how to install putty, I'll tell you very small installer. You go to here, putty download. So you download the putty. Okay, so then here putty.org we have, right? It's an open source. Okay, so download that putty. A small exe will come. Otherwise, here you can download that 64-bit x86. Okay, so then install that one. So here this is installed, right? Okay, so just click next. So it's already installed in my mission. That is the reason it's giving change and this. After this, if install putty, automatically putty gen also is coming. Then here I'm going to use putty here. Then in the putty, I'm going to copy that. Sorry, I need to copy that IP address. I got the instance public IP, right? that instance public IP. Okay, so now whenever I want to connect to any of the remote server, okay, what I want is I want that IP address, then I want that mission username and password. So in AWS, which one we don't have? In AWS, which one we don't have?
I
Come again. IP address we have. Okay.
Okay.
So which one we don't have is password we don't have. Instead of password, what we have?
Yes, yes. Address.
So we have the SSH key we
Keep
have.
it. This is
Yeah. So we have the key pair we have. We don't have the password. Okay. And that password we need to enter now. That password we need to enter. Okay. So now what is my problem here is I have entered my this by default. What is the password? Sorry, what is the username for Linux systems are? Okay, so root is the username. So by default in the Windows we have the administrator, but for Linux what is the username is? Root is the username. So root is the username. Okay, so then by default in the AWS instances, AWS has disabled that root account. AWS has disabled that a root account has been disabled. Okay, so in that place, what AWS is giving for us is depends upon the AMI. That depends upon the AMI. Amazon Linux. Okay, say if you are using Amazon Linux, username is EC2-user. If it is Ubuntu, the username is Ubuntu itself. If it is Red Hat, again it's EC2-user. Okay, for the security purpose, we are not getting root access. What is the username we have? What is the username? For Amazon Linux, what is the username?
EC2 user.
EC2-user.
Hyphen.
EC2-user. Okay. So then, if you are using even Debian also, the username is Debian itself. So one shortcut is either the distribution name or we may have EC2-user. Then we don't have the password. Okay, so we don't have the password. We have a .pem file we got. And the .pem file we need to convert into .ppk file we need to convert. The .pem file we need to convert into ppk. For that, what we need to use? So which software we need to use for that?
putty.
Yeah, putty gen we need to use. So we need to use the putty gen. Okay, so I'll go to putty gen, but it's also already installed in my mission. Putty gen, not putty. Okay, so in the putty gen, so here we have two options. One is generate and the second one is load. Okay, so can you guess which one we need to use?
Generate.
Yeah, generator. Say sorry, not generate, because already key has been generated.
Okay.
So when we download that, already public key, private key has been generated by AWS itself. In the instance they kept, public key and they gave us private
Load.
key. Okay, so then here I'm going to load this one. I'm going to use the load. Okay, then in my download somewhere I may have that I need to go for all files. then I have that PEM file. Here I have this PEM file, right? Okay, so just what I done, like I went to load and I went to my laptop in my downloads I have, and by default it got the filter PPK. I kept to all files, then I got that PEM file. Then I'm going to convert that one. Say I need to save it as public key or private key.
Public.
Public key or private key?
Private key.
As a private key, because already public key is with the instance. Already public key is with the instance. Okay, so that is the reason we don't use public key. We are going to keep that in the, we need to save it as the private key itself. So then I'm going to save that one. So any of that name we can give. So I'm saving this one in the desktop. So I just given the name as my first PPK file. Okay, so then my job role is done like with the putty gen. So I open putty gen. Then I open putty here, putty gen. Then like generate or load. I need to use generate or load here. Load, because already key has been generated. Okay,
Yes.
then go to where your downloads have, keep the filter. Okay, then that PEM file. Okay, so then no passphrase, all those, save it as a public key or private key?
Private key.
Private key. Okay, here again passphrase is not
The another files is not accept this puttings, only accept. Hello?
PPK only is supported.
Okay, sir.
The PEM is not supported. Then you
Okay,
give the name of that. Okay, any name you can save it. So then
okay.
again I'm coming back to putty. I entered my public IP. Normally, if it is a normal instance, only IP is enough. Later we can enter your username and password. But in this use case, what we need to do is we need to enter. So we need to enter our password, that PEM key also. Then here left side, try to understand SSH authentication credentials. So here we need to give that PPK or PEM.
PPK.
Yeah, PPK we need to give. So I'll try to give PEM. I'll try to give PEM file here.
Post lock is not catchy.
Yeah, that is fine. Accept this. Okay, so unable to use the key file, that PEM is not supported. OpenSSH only is supported that. Okay, so then we need to use. So then we need to use the PPK file itself. Then again I'll open putty here. I'll again open the putty. That public IP, SSH, authentication, credentials, browse. Then in my desktop, I have my PPK file, my first PPK file, open. Now, here I'll try to enter root. It won't accept the root. Okay, so please log in as the user Ubuntu rather than the user root. It is giving that message to me or not? Because in that AMI, AWS has been disabled that. AWS has disabled that root account access for us, because it's not a secure one. giving the root permissions is not always a secure one. Then again, I'll go to putty, username, authentication, credentials, ppk file. I'm logging here as Ubuntu. Okay, so now here, this is our Linux server. Whatever you want, you can do this. Try to spend some time on the change those settings, appearance, change the font. Okay, so just putty is a small tool to say, technically what happened is, now from my laptop, I connect it to this Linux instance, and this instance is resides in, where this instance has been resided.
AWS Cloud.
Yeah, in the AWS, that's in the remote location, like in the North Virginia, somewhere it's there. But from here we connect it. That is a physical server or virtual machine?
Virtual machine.
It's a virtual machine for us. It's a virtual server. Now, like here, I'll try to run one command. We need to learn minimum 80 to 100 Linux commands. We need to have good knowledge. Okay, so now here I'm typing uname -a. So that stores the Linux kernel version. Like here, this is a 6 point something. This is the kernel version. And here I can get that OS release also. I can get in the cat is the file name. In the etc. In the OS release we have. So what is the version of this? This is Ubuntu 24.04 like this. So we'll discuss more Linux commands also in the next sessions. Okay. So here we need to install a lot of softwares, all these also we need to install on that. But focus first on this, like how to connect to different type of Linux. So in this use case, I use the Ubuntu, right? If I take Amazon Linux, what is the username I need to give?
EC2 hyphen
EC2.
User, and Linux is case sensitive kind of thing. The Linux is case sensitive. Definitely I need to give small letters itself in that. Okay, so I need to use the small letters itself. Okay. So then in the same way, like I'll create one Windows instance. So I'll go to this instance. I'm terminating this. Definitely that putty session also would be lost because I terminated that instance, right? So now in the putty also, so that connection is because that instance itself is not there. Okay, so that is the reason that connection is lost for us. Okay, so then here I'm going to create one Windows instance. So I'm going to create the Windows instance. I'm shutting down this instance and I'm going to create a Windows instance. My Windows I have given, and I'm going to choose Windows. And I said, right, one point, core edition, what is the problem is? We don't get a graphical user interface of Windows. So that's the reason don't choose core. And always make sure free tier eligible itself. And I'm going to choose here 2022 base I'm going to choose. The 2022 base I have used here. Okay, so then here I chosen 2022 base, then instance type t2.micro. That PEM we have, right? That I can use. That my web server PEM anyhow I'm using. This time I'm not using Linux, I'm creating Windows. That's the reason I'm opening the port number 3389. RDP is nothing but 3389. And for Windows, 8 GB, 10 GB is not enough. Minimum we require 30 GB. Okay. So then here I'm going to launch the instance. Let's let the instance launch. Compared to Linux, Windows takes more time also. Let it start in 2 to 3 minutes. Okay, so now once that instance got created, Windows instance will take 3 to 4 minutes to launch. Linux can be done very fast because it's 8 GB like that, but Windows minimum 30 GB is there. Then, in order to connect to this Windows, don't expect to use putty because putty is only for Linux and it's a remote SSH kind of thing. But to connect to Windows, Windows by default they have provided one like a one tool, remote desktop tool. We can open it through MSTSC. MSTSC. In the MSTSC, what is going to happen is remote desktop connection. It's a one client. Okay, so then here we need to enter. So what we need to enter
STS.
there? We need to enter that public IP. We need to enter. Okay, so that public IP we need to enter there. Okay, so from the public IP, what we can do is like we can connect to that instance. So now I got the public IP for this. But what is the one of the problem is I can't use that PEM file also. And by default, the username for Windows is administrator itself. In the Linux, they disable that root access, but for Windows, the username is administrator. And Windows, that usernames may be not that much case sensitive. But here, one of the problem is Windows required the password. We don't have the password. What we have? We have that PEM file. Then go to that AWS. Okay, so that instance should comes to running state. Yeah. So in the running state, we are going to get that connect option. So go to that connect option, then go to RDP client. Okay, so we are using remote desktop. That's MSTSA I opened, right? That is nothing but remote desktop itself. Okay, so then here I can download that remote desktop file. Okay, but what I want is I want the password. So then here we need to get the password. How we can get the password is AWS will ask us that key pair. What is the key pair we have given?
My webs.
Yeah. That PEM is itself is supported, not PPK format. So then I'm going to get here the password. Okay. So then one simple step is I downloaded here the remote desktop file, right? I can double click on that also is fine. Then it's directly giving me the connect option. Then here that administrator also it's gave. I just need to copy that password. How I got the password? By submitting my PEM file, AWS has given me password. Okay, so then go to that connect option. In the connect option, we are going to like connecting that Windows server through RDP. In the Linux, we are not getting any graphical kind of export, but Windows gives us graphical kind of export. Okay, but we are getting only one CPU and 1 GB RAM, right? That's the reason the performance may be slow. Okay, so this is the Windows server we have connected. So here I'll open WinVer. Normally I got that uname -a something I ran right in the Linux. So now here if I use WinVer, it is going to open me the
What?
that what is the version we have is Windows Server to 2022.
2022.
Yeah, so that is the version we have. So I can close that RDP session here. Okay, so again I'll show the steps. So we have an EC2 instance, Windows Server. We can't connect through putty. Okay, so then here we can use RDP. And in the RDP, what you can do is in the runner, like we can type MS TSC. Then that IP we need to copy. Then we need to connect to this. But we know the username, but we don't know the password. Okay, so that's what we are doing here is go to connect option here. Then remote desktop client. So from this we can get the password. Say to retrieve directly the password, what AWS is expecting from us. What AWS is expecting. The key pair. Yeah, so that I'm uploading that key pair. So not PPK, PEM I need to give. Then decrypt that password. So after that, we can download that. Here we got that password, right? Now in this, you can provide that password also. Or if you don't have that MSTSC, all those, directly what you can do is, you can directly download that remote desktop file and double click on that connect option. Then that password we need to copy. In Azure, even for Windows administrator account also is disabled. It prompting for something. Yes, we need to click.
Sir, putty available in ppn file or any create that file?
Which one?
PPK.
Yeah, putty gen is that. If you download putty, automatically we are getting that putty gen.
Okay.
You don't need to install it again it.
Okay. Any document is required to upload this process?
No need.
Only
Just
putty.
try this. Yeah.
Okay.
These all self-explore kind of things. Okay.
Okay.
To learn these, you are not joined the sessions. Very advanced things we need to go through. These all self-explore kind of things going forward.
Okay.
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 So till this, everyone try to practice. So after this, I'm going to delete this instance. Says spend some time finally to clean up the resources also. Okay. So if you spend some time to clean up the resources, what is going to happen is you can use that account for the longer period. Okay. So we can use that account for longer period we can use. Okay. So try to practice this. If you have any doubts, we'll discuss in the next session. I'll share this video also. And previous videos also, just go through once.
Okay.
Okay? Sure.
Okay.
So please provide running notes, sir.
Sure.